It started as just a way to pass the time. I'm not proud of it, but like a lot of people, I'd find myself scrolling through certain websites late at night. It felt harmless, a secret indulgence that I didn't think much about. But this isn't some oops, I got caught story. This is something much darker. It was a Thursday night, around midnight. I was in bed, headphones on, phone in hand, when I came across a video that looked different. The thumbnail wasn't like the others. It wasn't provocative or flashy. In fact, it was almost unsettling. An unlit room with a single chair in the center. I don't know why, but I clicked it. The video started with static, the screen flickering for a few seconds before the camera zoomed in on the chair. It was empty, the room eerily silent except for the faint hum of background noise. I was about to close it out, assuming it was just a weird upload, when suddenly, the screen changed. A man walked into the frame, his face obscured by shadows. He stood there for a moment, staring directly into the camera. Then, in a low, gravelly voice, he said, "You shouldn't be here." I froze. At first, I thought it was some kind of joke or interactive video meant to freak people out, but then he said my name, not my username, not something generic like, "Hey you," but my actual name. Chills ran down my spine. I paused the video and immediately checked the website to see if I was logged in, thinking maybe they'd pulled my name from some profile. But I wasn't logged in. That's when I noticed something else. The URL at the top of the page wasn't a normal address. It was a string of random letters and numbers. I'd never seen anything like it before. My heart was racing, but curiosity got the better of me. I unpaused the video, and the man continued speaking. His voice was distorted, almost mechanical, as if he were trying to disguise it. "Do you want to know the truth?" he asked. I didn't respond, obviously, but it felt like he was waiting for an answer. Before I could think, the screen changed again, this time showing images, grainy, black and white footage of people in their homes. They didn't seem to know they were being filmed. One clip showed a woman typing on her computer late at night. Another showed a man scrolling on his phone in bed. Then I saw a room that looked familiar. Too familiar. It was my room. The angle was from above, as if the camera was mounted on the ceiling. I could see myself sitting on my bed, headphones on, staring at my phone. I slammed my phone down, panic setting in. How was this possible? Was someone hacking my camera? Watching me? My hands were shaking as I turned off the phone and threw it across the room. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I woke up to a single notification on my phone. No sender, no subject, just a message that said, "Don't stop watching." Against my better judgment, I clicked it. It was a link to the same website. This time, the video wasn't of strangers or empty rooms. It was a live feed of me. I could see myself holding the phone, staring at the screen. Behind me, in the corner of the room, was something moving, just barely visible in the shadows. I spun around, but there was nothing there. The video continued, the shadowy figure creeping closer, its features impossible to make out. It stopped right behind me in the video, and then the feed cut out. I didn't know what to do. I deleted the message, factory reset my phone, and tried to convince myself it was some elaborate prank or a vivid nightmare. But the next night, the same thing happened. A notification, a link, a video. Only this time, the figure wasn't in the background anymore. It was sitting on my bed, looking directly at the camera. When I was 22, I moved into a small apartment near campus. It was my first time living alone, and honestly, I loved the independence. No roommates, no shared spaces, just me, my laptop, and a Wi-Fi connection that I thought would be my best friend. Like most guys my age, I spent way too much time online, especially late at night. I wasn't a stranger to adult websites either. It was a harmless way to pass the time, or so I thought. It started on a random Tuesday. I had finished studying for my finals and decided to relax with some less than wholesome content. I found myself scrolling through one of the more obscure adult sites. You know the type, not mainstream, with videos that looked like they were shot on someone's old camcorder. I clicked on a video, nothing special, just a random pic. As it loaded, I noticed the page looked strange, not like your usual setup. The layout was outdated, almost like something from the early 2000s, and the buffering was painfully slow. I almost clicked away, but then the video started playing. It was odd from the start. The room in the video looked eerily similar to mine. Same kind of furniture, same cheap curtains. For a second, I thought maybe it was just a coincidence. But then the camera panned, and I saw something that made my stomach drop. The bed in the video had the same pattern comforter as mine. That's when I paused it. My brain tried to rationalize. Maybe this was some generic furniture from IKEA, and a lot of people had the same stuff. I convinced myself I was being paranoid and closed the tab, but the unease lingered. A few days passed, and I stayed off those sites. I focused on studying, telling myself it was probably just a weird coincidence. But one night, curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to check that site again. I typed the URL into my browser, but when the page loaded, it wasn't the same site I remembered. Instead, there was a plain black screen with one line of text in the middle. "We see you." I stared at the screen, my heart racing. What was this? A prank? Some kind of virus? Then, my webcam light blinked. You know that tiny light next to the camera on your laptop? It turned on for a split second before going off again. I slammed my laptop shut and sat there in silence, staring at it like it was a ticking time bomb. The next day, I went to the campus IT help desk. I didn't tell them the full story, just that I thought my laptop might have malware. They ran some scans and told me there was no sign of anything unusual, but I wasn't convinced. I started to notice other things, too. My laptop would make strange clicking noises, like it was recording something. Files I didn't recognize appeared on my desktop, files with random names. I never opened them. One night, I decided I'd had enough. I backed up all my important files to an external hard drive, wiped my laptop clean, and reinstalled the operating system. For a while, it seemed like everything was back to normal. But then the emails started. The first one came late at night. The subject line just said, "Watch yourself." I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won out. The email contained a single image, a grainy, black and white photo of me sitting at my desk. It was taken from the perspective of my webcam. I felt sick. My hands were shaking as I slammed my laptop shut again. I didn't know what to do. Should I go to the police? But what would I even tell them? That I'd been on some shady website, and now someone was spying on me? The second email came the next day. This time, it was a video. I opened it, terrified of what I'd see. Watching a video? The same video I'd clicked on that first night. But here's the thing. This wasn't footage of me from my perspective. It was as if I were the subject of the video, like someone had recorded me through my own screen. I felt trapped, violated. Over the next few days, the emails got worse. They included clips of me doing everyday things, brushing my teeth, eating dinner, even sleeping. Whoever was sending these had access to everything. I stopped using my laptop entirely. I covered the webcam with tape and started leaving it in another room when I wasn't using it. But the emails didn't stop. They just kept coming, each one more invasive than the last. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I smashed the laptop with a hammer and threw it in a dumpster. I thought that would be the end of it, but it wasn't. A week later, I got a package in the mail. No return address, just a plain brown box. Inside was a new laptop, identical to the one I'd destroyed. Taped to the screen was a note. It said, "You can't escape us." I moved out of that apartment the very next day. This happened when I was 16, and I still think about it. I'm 24 now, but that night stuck with me. It was like walking into something I wasn't meant to see. At the time, I was just a regular high school kid, spending way too much time on my computer, like most of us do. I was curious, bored, and one click led to another until I stumbled onto something I wish I hadn't. It started like any other night. My parents were asleep. My little brother was in his room playing video games, and I was online, just mindlessly browsing. Back then, the internet wasn't as filtered for me as it probably should have been. I'd go from YouTube to some random forum, and then click on a link, let's just say, parts of the web that weren't exactly friendly to a kid my age. That night, I wasn't even looking for anything sketchy. I was just scrolling through Reddit, falling down a rabbit hole of random threads when someone posted a link to a site they called The Archive. The post said it was full of old media, movies, pictures, weird art collections, stuff you couldn't find anywhere else. Naturally, my curiosity got the better of me. I clicked the link, and the website looked harmless enough. Just plain white text on a black background with a massive list of folders. Each folder had a name. Ones with names that didn't make sense. I clicked on a folder named Hidden Lives. It opened to reveal subfolders labeled with random dates. I clicked on one labeled 2012. Inside were hundreds of videos. No descriptions, just numbered files. I was too curious for my own good, so I picked one at random and hit play. The video started like a normal home movie, grainy footage of a man walking through his house. He was holding the camera, filming himself as he spoke to someone off-screen. But there was something off about his tone. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't joking. He was serious, nervous. I couldn't make out what he was saying because the audio was muffled, but the way he kept glancing at the door made my stomach twist. About 2 minutes in, the man sets the camera down on a table, but it's still rolling. The angle shifts, and now I could see the whole room. A small, dimly lit living room with a couch and a coffee table. On the table was a laptop. The man opened it, typed something, and then turned the screen toward the camera. That's when I saw it. The screen showed a video of someone else, a girl, maybe my age. She was sitting on the edge of a bed, looking directly at the camera, but her expression was blank. It was like she wasn't really there, like she was detached from the moment. The man in the video wasn't in the frame anymore, but you could hear him breathing, heavy, deliberate. It wasn't loud, but it felt suffocating. Something about the whole thing felt wrong. It wasn't like a normal video you'd stumble upon. It felt personal, intimate, but not in a good way. The girl didn't move, didn't speak. She just stared at the camera while the breathing continued in the background. And then, without warning, the video cut to static. I was frozen. My hands hovered over the keyboard, but I couldn't make myself close the tab. I wanted to stop watching, but my curiosity was stronger. I clicked on another video, hoping, praying, that the first one was just some weird art project or a fluke. It wasn't. The next video was worse. This time, it was a young guy, maybe in his early 20s, sitting alone in what looked like a motel room. The camera was set up on a tripod, and he was staring directly at it. He wasn't saying anything, just sitting there, looking almost ashamed. Then he stood up, walked out of frame, and the sound of a door locking echoed through the speakers. The video ended there, abruptly. I clicked out of the folder and started scrolling through the others. The more I looked, the more it became clear that this wasn't some harmless archive of old media. Every folder I opened contained videos like the ones I just watched. People alone, staring at cameras, always filmed in places that felt private. Homes, bedrooms, motels. But they weren't acting. They weren't performing. They were just there. It felt like I was looking into moments I wasn't supposed to see, like I was intruding on their lives. I was about to close the site altogether when I noticed something. At the top of the page, a small notification popped up. It said, "User 341 has joined." My heart dropped. I didn't know this site had other people on it. I thought it was just some forgotten corner of the web. But now, I wasn't so sure. Before I could think, a chat box appeared in the corner of the screen. A message popped up. "Do you like what you see?" I slammed my laptop shut and sat there, my heart racing. My room felt colder, smaller, like the walls were closing in. But the worst part? Even with the laptop closed, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. I didn't sleep that night. I kept staring at my laptop, half expecting it to light up on its own. The next morning, I told myself it was all just some elaborate prank, a creepy website designed to mess with people. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. The videos I saw, the people in them, they were real. And whoever was behind that site knew I'd been there. I wiped my laptop, deleted my browsing history, and promised myself I'd never go looking for things like that again. But every now and then, I think about those videos. Who were those people? Did they know they were being filmed?